now tuned in to the Cold Hard Truth, Cayman's #1 hard-hitting live podcast show, where we feature some straightforward conversations on political, social, and celebrity news and all things happening in the Cayman Islands and around the world. This show was created to give the people a voice and a means of being involved and informed without any filters. Sometimes it gets crazy, but we always keep it real. We bring you the tea, piping hot, so grab your favorite beverage and join the conversation via WhatsApp at 324-1612. Email tips at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Now, here's your host, Sandy Hill, broadcasting live from the beautiful Cayman Islands.
Okay, good evening, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Cold Hard Truth. We're going to get started here in just a second. Please give me just 1 minute. I literally just got off of the phone with yet another parent whose child, there's been multiple fights, and I've had parents calling me pretty much all day and all afternoon since we decided to address this topic this evening. This is a very serious and disturbing conversation, folks. But as I often say here on this program, we don't shy away from conversations that we need to be having as a community. And I've got an annoying fly in here. My apologies. Let me assure you that this is definitely one of those conversations that we need to be having. Our children, their safety, their lives are at risk, and we cannot take the chance of having a child seriously injured, whether it's your child, my child, it does not really matter. And one of the things that has occurred to me is that it appears that a lot of parents themselves are either in denial about what is happening, or if they know what's going on, they are not fully aware of the implications of what's happening. They don't understand why these things are happening. So I get the sense that parents in the past week, I have been getting more fights. It's a disturbing situation without a doubt. I know for a fact that there have been in excess of 10 fights this week alone at John Gray High School. And I will be taking some of your comments. So good night to Atlas joining us from the UK. Hi, Morna. Atlas says he's got a question. Just hold on, Atlas. Let us dig into this conversation a little bit deeper before we start taking any questions. So it's concerning. Good evening to all of you. Good evening, Yareli, Rosita, and others. It is very, very concerning what I'm hearing is happening, and more alarming as to why it's happening. This is the part that really has me confused and very disturbed, So let's delve into it in terms of what we know. So I have received, and I get these fight Instagram pages all the time. And I know that these young people are creating these pages. Oh, my apologies. There's an annoying fly in here. I mean, we do live in the tropics, but somebody opened the door. There are these Instagram accounts that are set up all the time with our young people. Like, they think it's cool. They think it's cool to fight and to record it and to put it up on Instagram, and they create these groups. And the purpose of these groups is to, I guess, make it a little bit cooler to be seen in a fight. And so a lot of kids are now involved in this. Some of these kids are good kids. They're not necessarily bad kids, but they're finding themselves having to respond to children who are either clout chasing, or just taking out their frustrations on other people. And they think it's cool, and you can see what's happening with the videos. And I'm a little bit torn about whether or not I even want to show the videos, because I do not want to encourage this behavior in any way, shape, or form. But let me give you an idea, folks, of what it is that we are talking about. I've created a folder just today, and in that folder, I have 7 fights. Now, I know for a fact that there are more than 7. Like I said, there have been in excess of 10 fights this week at John Gray High School. Now, I noticed with interest, someone mentioned earlier that, they sent their kids to John Gray, and that's a fine school, and let's not pick on schools here in government schools. Listen to me, folks. This has nothing to do with public schools, government schools. That's not what this discussion is about. This discussion right now, and this is where parents need a reality check, and that's kind of why I feel like, do I show you guys the video? Because it seems like a lot of you are still in denial about what is actually happening. And, just because you sent your kids to John Gray High School 20 years ago doesn't mean that what happened 20 years ago. So these are the fights, folks, that I've received just today. And they've been others. And there is a Facebook, Instagram group. They're having these groups set up on Snapchat and other areas that you as parents don't even have a clue. You do not know what's going on. And part of the purpose of this program is to enlighten you and inform you of what is actually happening. Because as parents, the more you know, and the more you understand, number one, what's happening, you have accurate information on what is happening. Hopefully that means that you can know how to address this in as constructive a manner as possible. Now, everyone has different parenting styles, and we're going to talk about some of that this evening as well. I can tell you as a parent that when you see things like this, somebody's head needs to get thumped. And trust me when I tell you, I do understand the feeling as a parent of wanting and needing to protect your children. But the way that we address this, and trust me when and it is indicative of some serious underlying concerns. 10 fights in 1 week don't just pop up out of nowhere. This is not a situation where all of a sudden everybody's stressing out this week and they're deciding to beat each other up. So Bob says that there have been 27 fights in total this week. I don't know where Bob got his information from, but I was told for sure that it was more than 10. Is it that much more? I don't know. But 10 is too many. 27 would be outrageous. So my question is, as parents, why are you all, and this is a question that you need to be asking of your school administrators, why are you all hearing this from Cayman Mall Road? Let's just be very honest here. You shouldn't be hearing this from me. You shouldn't be having, we're going to have the conversation at some point. But this is the sort of thing that our school administrators and the Ministry of Education needs to nip in the bud immediately. I understand that teachers and school counselors and people in the schools are stressed to the max with this situation. And I'm afraid that there's going to be some kind of a breaking point where one of your kids are going to get seriously injured. A teacher is going to get seriously injured, or God knows what else is going to go down. So we can put a lot of blame, and I agree with Cece here. Parents, you know who you are. You do need to take accountability for your own children. So we're hearing numbers of 16 fights, 20 fights, 27 fights. Gage, is that you? Jared, is that you? So the kids are on here, maybe having a discussion with each other. But the truth of the matter is, it's just way too many. And it is scary. So let us really jump into the conversation here, right? The things that are causing the fights are petty AF. Seriously, talk to your children. They are petty. Oh, one young lady sat with another group. I don't know what they call them in school. Your group, house, whatever. You're in the blue house, they're in the red house. Stupidity. That is not a reason. She comes and sits at your table for lunchtime. That is not a reason for you to try to beat her up and gang her up. 5-4 against 1. It's ridiculous. Parents, you need to sit down and talk to your children. What are we going to do? Suspend all the children who've been in this fight? It sounds like, based on the numbers, you probably wouldn't have anybody left in school. We're going to talk about solutions here in a second. Some of the reasons why your children are fighting is because they're looking for attention from their peers. They think it's cool. They want these fights to go on social media. And that will then lead to the recordings, as you see. And you see them start to record before the fight even starts. The very act of pulling out a camera, okay, this is going to go down. I'm going to record this. Means a lot of these situations that you see happening are premeditated. They are planned. People know that, okay, this kid, he's the one who's going to be targeted today. We're going to set this up. We're going to do this in the hallway. We're going to do this out by the buses. And so that is what has been happening. Let me inform you, parents, that if you do not understand how strong the clout game is, you are very, very clueless, and you need to get with the program in order to be able to monitor your children and to keep a good eye on them. What do I mean by clout? Have you heard your kids talking about this? They're chasing clout. In other words, they're looking for social media attention. There could be one of these groups. This is a new way of being enough anymore that you're just popular because, you know, whatever, you're an athlete, you're a cheerleader, you get good grades. You know, there's some folks where you become popular for all the wrong reasons because you were in a fight video and now you're all over Instagram. Because, you know, maybe they tried to gang up on you, but they didn't know just because you're a little girl doesn't mean that you can't defend yourself and you couldn't hold your own. So now it's like, okay, who's the biggest, and not necessarily the biggest, but who's the baddest of this year group or whatever. This isn't going to stop. 27 fights. Are you kidding me? This is outrageous. Right now, the school administrators, the Ministry of Education should be calling an emergency meeting with every single parent at John Gray High School. This weekend, they should be saying, you know what, parents, we have an emergency PTA meeting with all of the Ministry of Education. Juliana O'Connor, with all due respect, Minister, come from Cayman Brac or wherever you're at, get on this island, sit down with these parents. If you need to fill your auditorium with parents and students and hash this out the entire day on Saturday and Sunday, if you need to have a powwow, a session, whatever you want to call it, order some food, pizzas, oxtail, I don't care what it is. Have an emergency meeting, get the parents in there with their children and start talking about what the issue is. You need to have one-on-one conversations with these kids as well. So Fran is saying, I know one thing, when we were in school, none of that could happen. Well, I suppose there's always been some level of fighting. Listen, I got in a fight when I was in high school, way back when. It wasn't a situation where I started it or anything. I was actually defending myself against a guy. And I know what it's like to be in school. I remember all too clearly what it's like to be in school and to have someone, in this case, every single day, this guy was just at me. Turns out he liked me and I didn't like him back. And he didn't know, he wasn't all that bright. So he didn't know that when you like a girl, you don't like tease her and make fun of her. Maybe if you just say, oh, I like you, you might actually get a smile out of her. But his response, because of the homes that these kids are coming from, and we're going to talk about that here in a second, because we can't have this conversation in isolation and pretend like these children are coming from perfectly sensible homes. They're coming from problematic homes, first of all. But this happens. These types of things happen. Children don't know how to talk and how to express themselves, and some children will resort to violence. So yeah, this kid tried it with me. One day, I've been ignoring him for the entire semester. I complained to the teacher. The teacher moved him away from me, and he still went on and on and on and on. And it just eggs on from one thing to the next. And one day in the hall, he decides that he's going to slap me. Well, that ain't going to go down like that. So I had to defend myself, and it got physical. So when people say, oh, this didn't happen when I went to school, I don't believe that. It wasn't happening like this. I didn't hear of 10, 15, 20, 27 fights in 1 week at one school. This should shock anyone. Bob says that a police pushed down his little granddaughter. I mean, I don't know the exact circumstances of every single fight that has gone down. What I do know is with this many fights, this is a clear indication. We don't need much more of a clearer picture than this, folks. Our kids are out of control. Get a hold of your children. We had an incident at UCCI this week. Several guys going on campus with cutlass, knives, and a friggin' machete. Are we kidding? Knives and a machete at a college in the Cayman Islands? I honestly would have thought that a government school against private schools. I'm just giving you the facts. No other school has had this issue this week, okay? So yes, say what you want to say about the other schools. They've got their problems. But what we are talking about, whenever someone says, oh my God, look at what's happening at John Gray, and you start to say, well, what about CIS? What about the private school? It's called deflection. Schools in a real way. Don't deflect and talk to me about private schools right now. When their issues come up, we give them just as much attention, believe me, I want to talk about John Gray High School and why are these kids telling us that there were 27 fights this week and the general public seems to know nothing about this. Why? This isn't the sort of thing that is going to go away if we try to cover it up. As parents, as people in this community, church leaders, all y'all be going to church every Sunday talking about you're a Christian. What has happened to your children? Because they're not acting very Christian-like. They're acting like a bunch of hooligans. And yes, you have got to take responsibility for your children. How can it be that in one day alone, I have received 7 fight videos and they're not the same fight, folks? Look at each one of the caption screenshots for these. Different locations, different students involved. One is by the buses, one is in a hallway. There's a couple outside. One person involved at the school level said to me, a lot of these kids, it's the girls that are fighting. And I said, what? The girls? Yeah, they're now fighting over petty stuff, but they're looking for the clout, for the attention it's going to get them. But I'm sorry, I saw a lot of the videos that I saw. Yes, there was one or two with girls, but a lot of them were boys. And they look like some of these little boys, they look like they're 12. Seriously. What is going on? Let me show you one here. You can't really see who these kids are because this is kind of blurry. But honestly, these children look like they're 12 years old. What is it that they're trying to prove? What is the issue here? We need to get a hold of this issue as quickly as possible and address it as quickly as possible. So Deborah says, my child was threatened today about this fighting. You see what I'm telling you? Parents have been messaging. Parents have been calling. James wants me to go live on Instagram. James, the reason why I haven't gone live on Instagram is because, to be honest, you young people on Instagram just don't know how to behave yourselves. But I suppose at the end of the day, a lot of the kids are there on Instagram, and I guess that they're missing out on the message. So give me a second here, James. I will indulge you, but I'm going to definitely turn the comments off because I ain't got no time for the foolishness tonight. Let us be very clear. Okay, so let me see if I can, give me 1 second here, guys. I'm going to just grab my stand so I can go live on Instagram. So I'm concerned. I obviously don't have any children at John Gray, but I'm concerned about what is happening to our students. Why is it happening? And quite frankly, I think that every parent in this community should be concerned because this is not the sort of thing that is going to end well for anyone involved. And so the question becomes, why is it happening? What is happening to our young people at this moment? Are you guys stressed out over? So James fight, and you recorded it. So you see my sources are here feeding me information as we are going through this. So let me just see. So this is concerning that some of you are here watching this. And let me just see here. So the question then becomes, folks, on the one hand, something is going on for sure. What is it? How are we going to address it, folks? And as parents, it is my honest opinion that you need to demand some answers from school administrators. So police are involved. This person says K-Man has gone to the dogs. Explain to me how your children intend to learn anything if what they are doing is spending time at school either fighting or learning how to defend themselves against other people. To me, that makes absolutely no sense at all. You see this little kid here? He looks like he's 12 years old. What is this kid fighting? What's going on? What is the issue? The ministry needs to step up and tell us exactly what is happening so that we as parents can then know what is it that our children need in order to be safe. My God, if there's any place that you should be safe in this world, it should be a school environment and your homes. And if that is not happening, what are we going to do? Have police in every single classroom? Have police officers at every single corner? What sort of children are we raising, K-Man, that is someday going to be going out in the workforce and trying to get a job? Where are they going to work with this kind of behavior? Do these children think that if they work at a law firm, Maples, Walkers, or heaven forbid they get a job in any of those places with what I see going on, because it doesn't look like they're going to have enough time spent learning anything to get a decent job in the first place. They're probably going to be, I don't know what, doing what exactly. But if they disagree with someone at work, what are you going to do? You're going to start thumping them on the head and start beating people up? That is not the answer here, folks. We cannot look at these children without also questioning the parents in terms of what is it that is going on here? Why are they fighting? What is going on in their homes? I see a lot of you guys commenting on Facebook about old people, parents need to beat their ass and do this to them and do that to them. Let me just make a suggestion to you. The Caribbean, Latin America, and Central America are some of those violent countries in the world. And we very much believe in capital punishment. So in other words, our parents and parents before them and the parents of today believe in beating their children. My question to you is, how effective has it really been? Take a look around. You beating your children every day. You cursing your children out every single day. You better do right or I can beat you. Well, it doesn't seem to be working. And in fact, it appears to have the opposite effect, where your children are learning that the way that they resolve a dispute and that they resolve their problems and issues, instead of talking about it, sitting down and have a discussion, is that they just beat each other up. That's the way to do it. So as parents, I challenge you to accept your responsibility in this. What is your role in raising these young people to believe that this is somehow cool? I just said to you that I myself have been in a fight when I was in high school. It was a situation where I was actually defending myself. Despite the fact that I was defending myself, do you know that when I went home and I told my aunt what happened? Well, first of all, the school already knew, before she knew from the school right home. I was in a world of trouble. And I was like, what did I do? I defended myself. I'm supposed to defend myself. To me, it made no sense, really, that she was going to then punish me for defending myself against a guy. I'm like, really? But you know, the very fear of going home and having to answer to Aunt Lottie, and trust me, you didn't mess with Aunt Lottie. I was like, oh my God, I can't do anything. I'm going to get in trouble. I was so afraid of her. Now we have kids who are not afraid of anything or anyone. They're not afraid of their parents. They'll fight the parents. They'll beat up the parents. They'll beat up the teachers. They want to beat up police. And parents think that, oh, well, this ain't got nothing to do with me. This is not my fault. Are you kidding me? This is more than your fault. This is your responsibility. And in order for us to now fix what is happening, it's going to take a collective effort. All parents, all school administrators need to have an emergency meeting. Like I said, today is Thursday. Call this meeting this weekend. The Honorable Juliana O'Connor Conley. Bring in school counselors. You always want to be walking with your Bible, worrying more about gay people and this, that, and the next thing. This is when we need Jesus, folks. Our children's lives are at risk here, okay? We need to fix this. Jesus, where are you? This needs to be fixed. This is not a situation, people, that we can ignore and sweep under the rug, just like we did with the gang activities back in the day. No one wanted to admit that there were gangs in the schools, right? It is times like this, folks, that we need severe intervention. And if you have to turn to the Bible for whatever intervention you need, I don't care. I don't really care what brings you to your knees, okay? If we need to have a coming to Jesus moment, then let's do it. Let's have it. Because in my opinion, that's how serious this is. If children are feeling a bit stressed because of COVID, you know, a lot of these kids have gone through a lot. And somebody was saying to me today, come on, Sandy. There are kids in the world right now who are dealing with major hurricanes that got hit by Cat 5. And those kids are not going on like this. And you know what I said to them in all honesty? I said, let me tell you something about Caymanian children. Our children are really used to no rough life. Let's be quite honest here, right? So COVID has had a psychological impact on them. The shutdown, being shuttered. And the sad truth of the matter is we also have to recognize that there are a lot of children who are in homes that are dysfunctional and being locked up 24/7 with dysfunctional parents, siblings, potentially even being sexually molested, physically abused. That takes its toll on anybody. So I cannot help but wonder if the COVID lockdown and ensuing pandemic has had an impact on our young people more than we are willing to admit, a real psychological impact on them. And by not addressing it, by not going in there with counselors, by not giving children an opportunity to have an outlet, we spend a lot of money in this country on all sorts of things when we are ready. We can find millions to throw at any and everything we want. What we need right now is an emergency PTA meeting. We need some team building exercises with these girls and guys, young men and young ladies, and we need them to come together. They need to learn how to communicate. Yes, we all get upset. We all get inner feelings at times. Young people, I'm talking to you all. Do you think that there are times, even as an adult in my 40s, that someone doesn't do something to me and I'm like, man, I wish I could just love to give somebody a bitch slap, but that is not how the world works. You cannot go around beating people up. You can't go to UCCI campus with a cutlass talking about you gonna chop somebody up. This kind of behavior gets you nowhere in life. And take it from me, in 5 and 10 years, you are going to regret every single time you got in school, every single time you got in a fight, every single time your teacher had to mark you down, whatever, because you are setting the framework for what the rest of your life will be like. And whether you understand that or not, so in 10 years, when you cannot find a job in the Cayman Islands, and then you are complaining about, oh, nobody don't want to hire Caymanians, and just because I'm a Caymanian, I can't get a job. No, it's not just because you're a Caymanian. A lot of you have the wrong attitude, the wrong work ethic. You've been raised by parents who never taught you the value of a hard day's work, showing up on time, doing what you're supposed to do, getting your education. And right now, you don't care about any of those things, but you will care. And you know what? No one's going to feel sorry for you. The margin in this country of the haves and the have-nots is growing by the day. And if you fall into the have-nots category, your opportunities at having a chance at any sort of success in life is dwindling more and more and more. And let me tell you something. I see Bob says that I need to go into the school and have a little talk with these kids. I wish I could. Because you know what I would tell you, young people? Listen to me. I came from the same impoverished situation that a lot of you came from. Right? I came from nothing. No one put anything in my hand. I had no silver spoon. I had none of that. And what I want to really implore you, young people, to understand me when I say to you, if you mess up your future, and it starts in middle school, it starts in high school, that's when you've got to buckle down and you have to start caring. Your actions have consequences. And if you mess that up for yourselves, the world can be very unforgiving. You may not get a second chance. You're going to end up 19, 20, 25 with 4 and 5 children by 4 or 5 different dudes who none of them don't care about you. You're going to be on crack, right? Whoring down half of Georgetown, West Bay, whatever. Your baby daddies are all going to be in jail. We're going to have to build a bigger jail just to hold them. And this is going to be our legacy as a country. So, you know, Instagram, some of you young folks, you like to joke and sit down and, oh, Miss Sandra, this, that, the next thing. Say whatever you want. Because at the end of the day, I got mine. I can pay my bills. Will you be able to say that in 5 and 10 years? What will your story be? But you see, I can sit back and not have this discussion with you, see you fighting each other, killing each other, and not care like a lot of other people out there. I can go and live behind a gated community, put the walls up really, really high, put bars on the window. And like everybody else, who gives a damn? But you know why I care? Because I am one of you. We come from the same places, the same families, the same neighborhoods. And this is where I want to make it clear. Right? I am a Barnes. I am a Macfield. I am connected to the Rockets. These are Caymanian, Black Georgetown families. We are workers. We go out there and we have to struggle and work. And not every member of my family has been able to have siblings. I have cousins. I have aunts and uncles, whatever, who haven't been able to do in children. Bad parenting. So when I talk to you about this, I know this is the story. I have come from this. This isn't me trying to look down on anyone. This is me saying that I completely understand. And that is why I am so passionate about this. You know, I had the opportunity, and I know over 110 of you on Instagram right now, another 236 on Facebook and YouTube. So when I tell you that I had an opportunity to leave Cayman, and that was the best thing that ever happened to me, because my father said, wow, if she continues in this environment, she's going to end up in reform school in Jamaica or worse. Someone saw potential and said, the environment, we got to get her out of the environment. Most of you will not have the opportunity to be removed from your environment, sent to somewhere else overseas for a different person to raise you and do all these things to give you an opportunity at an education, to give you an opportunity to turn your life around. So I see a young man here. I think this is a young man, spot whatever 3X says, are you crying? You guys would make anybody cry, because this is the future for Cayman. We have people who come here to this country because this is the most amazing and beautiful country in the world. And they make a living for themselves and become millionaires and live in some of the most beautiful homes, can walk 7 Mile Beach and all this great stuff. Opportunities that the rest of us should have. And we don't have it in part because we are not doing what we need to do. So you guys can make fun of this all you want. You can put up your little frog emojis. And you know what? It doesn't hurt me. What hurts me is the level of ignorance, even in the conversation on Instagram, that some of you are engaging in because you just do not get it. You don't get the destruction that you're causing for your own lives. And by extension, for the rest of this country. What is it that you young people need from us? Right? What do you need us to do? What sort of intervention do we need? We see people like Pastor Murray get up every single day. He goes to school, does his full-time job, and then in his spare time, he's running a boys to men program. What else do we need? Do we need a girls to women program or girls to ladies program? I don't know what we'd call it. How do we reach the rest of you? Because the 70-something kids that are in the Boys to Men program, which is a record for this year, that can't be all the ones that we're trying to save. Because if it is, we are in a world of trouble. What are we going to do? We can speculate about why these kids are fighting. And one of the things that we need to immediately do is to remove all cell phones from school. Why do you need a cell phone in class? You don't, is the bottom line. At the security check station, every person is going to go through a security checkpoint. You're going to be scanned. Your backpacks will be checked. Phones will be confiscated. Tag it, put it in a drawer. It'll be securely locked away. When you're leaving for the day, then you can get your phone back. Escorts from the school to the bus, police escorts who are there, and I'm sorry, but if we need to start talking about having armed school patrols, then you know what? Do it. Do not sit back, Juliana O'Connor Connolly, and the rest of the education ministry and this unity government, and allow this situation to get out of control, just like we did with the gangs. Remember when Truman Bodden was Minister of Education, the man sat down and said, no, we don't have no gangs in the Cayman Islands. Really? Clueless. And let me just say this as an aside. This is what happens when you elect people to public office who do not even have a clue as to what is going on in their communities. Because then they can sit down and make these ridiculous comments like, oh yeah, we don't have any gangs. We don't have any issues. Just in 1 week, everything. We need some serious because if part of the driving force here, which I understand that it is actually being able to take video footage of these fights and put them up on social media, and then have these groups, these fight groups and whatever, watching them, then you remove the glamour, the sparkles, whatever you want to call it, folks. Remove that excitement around being able to stand up there and watch a fight to begin with and record it. I've watched the videos, young people, and I see exactly what is going on. I see you prepping the phone before the fight even starts, so you know what is about to go down. You know who's about to get their butts kicked, when, where, and the whole 9 yards. So let us nip this in the bud. That's one concrete solution that the ministry can take up right now. Implement it. The other thing you need to implement is any student who is involved in a fight, immediate suspension. And you need to understand what this suspension means. So you're now going to start doing things like losing your privileges. Of course, Solomon, the videos are there. The police have them. They can use them as evidence. That's fine. Because now you're going to be suspended from school and you're going to be criminally charged. Because you know what? You have assaulted someone. Go to court, go through the process, because apparently you're already headed in that direction. So you want a taste of what jail looks like. You want a taste of, the real hardcore life. You all think you're badasses. Well, you know what? Let's start treating them like badasses. They want to be badasses. Good. Suspended from school. You go to court. You go before a judge. We need to start taking some of these young people to Northwood, to Fairbanks, locking them up for a day in a cell next to these hardcore rapists and child molesters and, people who thought that they were gangbangers, and see exactly how much of a gangbanger you are in Northwood. Because believe me, that is a humbling experience. To sit in a cell 23 hours a day and have someone tell you when you can go to the bathroom, when you can take a shower and don't bend over and drop the soap. Maybe this is what our young people need. Maybe they need a reality check. Maybe we have been too easy on them and they have no concept of how their actions have real consequences. I have not seen a young person in prison yet who was like, yeah, this is the life. You understand what I'm saying? It isn't the life. That's not the place to be. Now, mind you, we don't have the worst prisons in the world. But what are you throwing your life down the drains for? What's the end game? You guys have so much potential. Each and every one of you young people have a lot of potential. There's so much more that you could be doing with your lives. You could be out there doing community work. You could be helping other young people, peer counseling, work experience, volunteering at the Humane Society, volunteering at the old folks home, helping out your grandparents, helping out your parents. There's a lot more that you can do than to be out there beating each other up. It makes no sense. King says, fix it, Jesus. The real pedophiles, that's everything that gets certain ministers up in arms. They're ignoring all of this. They're not talking about this because, it ain't got nothing to do with gay people, apparently. Come on. This isn't what it should be about for us. We are such a small community, a population of 60,000 people. If we can't get these social issues right, talking about, we're the 5th largest financial center in the world, which I don't think we're the 5th anymore, wherever we are on the list. None of those things matter. None of it matters. All this other successes in the world, all the big buildings, all the multi-million-dollar properties, that will all pale in comparison to you having to put burglar bars on your doors and windows because these same hooligans in 10, 15, 20, 25 years are going to be knocking at your door trying to steal what you have because they ain't going to have no skills to make a real living for themselves. So if for no other reason that you care about yourself, let's be selfish here because I know most of you are selfish anyway. You don't care about nobody else. Think about the future of your own lives, the quality of your own lives and what you're going to be in for. I don't know. Tonight, I was supposed to be talking about the fishermen and the fish market and what is happening there, because that's a real issue that's going to impact the lives of people here in Cayman. And instead, I had to put that discussion on the back burner and talk about this instead. My daughter is only 4 years old. She don't go to John Gray. She's not in high school. She's not in middle school. She's not even in elementary school yet. And yet I am concerned about what the future of this country will be like. And every single one of you, whether you have children or not, should be concerned. 27 rumors of 27 fights in 1 week. The week not even over. Today's Thursday. I heard of at least 2 or 3 fights today alone. Folks, this, in my opinion, is a national emergency. Don't let anybody else tell you anything differently. Get on the phone, folks. Demand better from your elected officials. Let me show you something here. Juliana O'Connor Conley has a phone number. All of our elected officials have a phone number, folks. Her number is supposed to be 916-4920. Call her. Parents, get on the phones. 916-4920. Alden McLaughlin, let's see. His number is 916-3153. Get on the phone tonight and demand that your elected officials care as much about your children and what they're doing in a government-operated school than they do the cruise ships, the $1 million deals with DART, giving away beach property, right? Building their own legacy, putting their name on every single plaque. Make them care just as much about your children in this situation as they do all of that. Juliana O'Connor Conley, I'm going to beg you, please.
Praise the Lord.
Will you please care about our children right now in this moment as much as you do about voting against the LGBTQ community? You spent countless messages, sending out messages about this, talking about it, praying. You did a whole prayer thing. You asked God to come down on the legislative assembly, come down on the governor, right? To change their hearts. I need that same passion to be utilized right now to save our young people. Pray on it, sister. Bring it down. Whatever it takes, let us deal with this situation right now. Jesus, fix it. But guess what? Jesus is not going to fix this by himself. He needs you all to be involved. You all to fix this as parents, as teachers, PTA. I don't care if you're P, a T, or an A. Get it together and let us resolve this. Students, you have a role to play in this as well. Talk to your parents. All of you parents right now listening to this program, I don't care if this is the first time you're hearing this. I don't care if you heard it before and you're thinking, oh, that's not my child. It could be your child tomorrow. I want you to start having a conversation in your homes to find out what is going on. Spend some money getting therapists in our schools so that these young people can have someone to talk to. Set up peer counseling programs, mentoring programs where other people, listen, even some of the prisoners can be useful and can mentor some of these young people. to be like, you don't want to end up how I ended up. You don't want this life. Prison life is not for somebody who's smart. Crystal says, anybody notice all the new condo complexes going up? Who's going to inhabit them? Well, at this rate, it's not going to be Caymanians. It's not going to be these kids. So let's get it together. That is my wish. Let us get it together and quickly. Vicky says half these kids don't have parents in their lives. Well, I guess some of them don't have parents that really care. Tabitha wants to know, what's the RCIPS doing about this? Well, they're aware of it. They're having a group meeting to try to figure out what to do. They're going to talk about it on the next time they go on Radio Cayman and Rooster, I guess. We need to get into the schools. This is what needs to happen right now. We need to get into the schools and start talking to these children. Parents, you want me to talk to your young children about how poor decisions can mess up your life? You know what I'm saying? Honestly, it's just, it hurts me. It hurts my heart. It really does. Because I think that we have so much potential as a country, as a people, or young people. Like when I go into the schools and I see them and I know that they can do it. I know they can get the grades. I know that they can behave. Oh my God, I think, wow, what a beautiful country we could have. But then when I hear of all this shenanigans, I'm like, Lord Jesus, what next? What next? Let's not wait until somebody's child falls down and hits their head in a parking brick and is killed. And then the other child is going to be going to jail for murder. Let's not wait until that happens. That doesn't make any sense, people. Young people, you don't want that on you might think you're bad and you're this and whatever, but you do not want the blood of somebody else's child on your hands. I don't care how badass you think you are at night. You got to put your head down on a pillow and you have got to sleep. And knowing that you took somebody's life over foolishness. Oh, she was sitting at our table. So what? Don't be stupid, right? It is not worth it. You hit someone the right way in the head and you can kill that person. Caymanians, we are better than this. We want to sit down and look at, oh, let's look at Jamaica. Let's look at these other countries, Honduras, this one, that one. We not know better than nobody. In fact, we are worse because we have had the financial success story, the foundation that a lot of those countries can't even say that they've had. And here we are throwing it away. Here we are not addressing our social issues. We are on the brink. Yes, the haves and the have-nots, it is growing, but we are there. We can fix this. That's why every day I get on my platform, I say, May the 26th is right around the corner, folks. You need to start making some better decisions about your elected officials. We're like on two extremes. Some elected officials, they can just live in church and walk around with the Bible all day, still not doing nothing. And then we have other elected officials. They can end up in the bar room all day, drinking their lives away, picking up the Spanish girls, going in the bushes with them, going home with them. And it's like, can we get better representation for our people? We certainly deserve better. May the 26th, folks, young people, you've got until January, I think it's the 4th, to get registered to vote. Try to get out there and get registered to vote. Listen to me. Here at Cayman Mall Road for the last couple months, we've been talking about this youth program. We've been so busy that we haven't kicked it off yet. And I want to kick it off because this program is here to benefit all of you. I want you all to have a voice. If nobody else wants to give you a voice in this country, Cayman Mall Road will give it to you. You want to do a video to talk about your life, your issues, whatever. You want clout, I will give you clout for doing the right things. You want to have your own show? No problem. We got the platform. We still have to pick the name. Let's do it. Contact me. I will help you all to get a voice in this country. I will help your issues to come to the forefront. This show isn't about being a goody two shoes. It's not about being perfect. We can talk about your issues. I'm not here to judge you if you want to use, the BBC word every once in a while and whatever. All right, whatever. But let's not get to the point where we are going to ruin our lives by doing foolishness like these fight clubs and all this sort of thing. It just doesn't make any sense. Honestly. Folks, you've been listening to the Cold Hard Truth. And all I can tell you is we need to fix the situation and we need to fix it quickly. How are you going to be part of the solution? Amanda, Mikal, Tabitha, Runika, tell me how you and me and all of us can be part of the solution. What is it that we need to do? I keep playing this song all the time in this program. It's called Find a Way Out because the words are so incredibly important. Jonathan says the only thing these politicians are fighting for is to be called MPs. Useless bunch. Wake up, Cayman. Young people, do the right thing. We can fix this. We can really, really fix this. We can find a way out of this mess. We can do it together. We need good leadership. We need to address the bullying in our schools. We need to address the fighting. All the things that are deterring our young people from focusing on what they should be focusing on, which is trying to get an education, to give you a chance in life. Let's fix it.
People talking, what are they talking about? This world's gone crazy, and I'm trying to find a way out. Nobody knows where we're going, or if we're going at all. Nobody cares if we sin, if we have nowhere to fall. It's a singing symphony, playing as the ship goes down. It's a porcelain epiphany, breaking if it hits the ground. I gotta find a way out. So many questions answered without an answer to tell. Too many things on my mind for anything